Picture this. You are an E-1 Seaman Recruit, the absolute bottom rung of the United States Navy's ladder. You have survived boot camp, you have earned your uniform, and now you are standing aboard one of the most powerful military machines ever built by human hands. A nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, a floating city of steel and jet fuel and raw American power. And your stomach is growling. So what exactly is waiting for him? However, there's the twist nobody tells you before you sign that dotted line. On a ship carrying over 5,000 people, in the middle of the open ocean, where you eat, what you eat, and even when you eat, is decided by something brutally simple: your rank. And at E-1, you are at the very bottom of that food chain, literally. Welcome to the mess deck. This is where the real story begins. Before we get into the drama of what lands on your tray as a junior sailor, let's first understand the sheer mind-bending scale of feeding this beast of a ship. Every single day aboard a deployed aircraft carrier, 114 dedicated culinary specialists, Navy-trained cooks, work across 7 different galleys to produce a staggering 17,300 meals. And these are not your easy 9-to-5 shifts. These sailors are pulling 12 to 14-hour shifts to keep the food service running continuously around the clock without stopping. Wrap your head around this. The entire US Navy fleet serves roughly 93,000 meals every single day across all ships and installations worldwide. A single aircraft carrier accounts for nearly 20% of that total. One ship, one floating city, 20% of the entire fleet's food operation. If we speak of the grocery bill, to prepare those 17,000 plus meals per day, it costs anywhere from $45,000 to $65,000 in groceries every single day. That is what the US Navy spends on food alone, every 24 hours, just to keep one carrier's crew operational. The daily consumption is something like this: 1,600 pounds of chicken, 2,000 pounds of hamburger meat, 2,000 pounds of steak, 350 pounds of lettuce, 160 gallons of milk, 30 cases of cereal, and a mind-melting 20,000 cups of coffee every single day. Now here's the part the Navy really doesn't want you to know about. Not everyone eats the same way on this ship. At sea aboard naval vessels, the mess is strictly separated. E6 and below use the ship's general enlisted mess decks. E7 through E9, the chief petty officers, get their own exclusive mess. And commissioned officers, they eat in an entirely different world called the wardroom. 3 tiers, 3 completely different dining experiences. On the same ship, sailing through the same ocean, fighting the same mission. At the very top sits the officer's wardroom, assigned seating, folded napkins, real silverware and upholstered chairs. Officers, quite simply, have it pretty good. The captain and admiral, they have their own personal cooks, their own private kitchens, their own curated menus. On the same ship, the lowest-ranked sailor is standing in a cafeteria line. And the chiefs, the E7s through E9s, they have their own separate room, they pay for their own food and eat what they want. And then the lowest rank, the E1, the Seaman Recruit. They go to the general mess deck with hundreds, sometimes thousands, of other enlisted sailors. Take what's on the line. E1 through E6 eat with the general mess, have no cost deducted at the point of service, and have zero say in what is on the menu. Zero say. So when that tray finally slides in front of you, what's actually on it? Spoiler alert, it can be hell disgusting at times. Let's be real about this. On a good day, the Navy's culinary teams genuinely work hard to deliver comfort and variety. Culinary specialists plan menus on a rotating schedule, crafting everything from Taco Tuesdays to regional dishes, cultural food nights featuring Asian fare, Greek fare and international cuisine, all while abiding by nutritional guidelines. On a good day, it can genuinely feel like a decent cafeteria meal. Hot food, familiar flavors, a brief escape from the steel corridors and engine noise. Sailors receive 4 meal periods daily: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the legendary mid-rats, midnight rations, for the night shift crews who keep the carrier operational through the dark hours. These late-night meals often consist of dinner leftovers, supplemented with fresh items. In October of 2020, an enlisted sailor aboard the carrier Nimitz published a Facebook post that quickly went viral, showing an assortment of genuinely disturbing-looking meals from the mess deck: raw and bloody roast beef, bread edged in blue mold, and grey eggs with fossilized yolks, on a $13 billion warship. Tell us in the comments, has your employer served you moldy bread and grey eggs for breakfast? How long before you walked out? The Navy defended the Nimitz, pointing out it had actually been recognized for best carrier food service that same year. But the photos didn't lie, and the fact that those photos existed at all tells you everything about the gamble that is life on the lowest mess deck. But what happens when the food runs out? And the ocean gives you no way out. Food supplies are replenished roughly every 7 to 10 days by dedicated supply ships that pull alongside the carrier, match its speed, and transfer anywhere from 400,000 to 700,000 pounds of food via cable lines strung between two massive ships moving through open ocean. It is one of the most logistically insane operations in the modern military. And when the weather turns, when the seas get rough, when operational requirements push that resupply window out further than planned, the crew can tell pretty easily because the fresh foods begin to disappear, replaced by canned or dried alternatives. Fresh vegetables, gone. Fresh fruit, gone. That salad you were counting on, replaced by something from a can that's been sitting in storage since the ship left port. Supply ships typically drop off between 500,000 and 1 million pounds of food with every resupply trip, and from that haul, culinary specialists create a menu to span the next 21 days, trying to inject creativity and home-style comfort into the relentless deployment. Yet there's the angle nobody ever talks about in these stories, the most horrible one. Somebody has to make all of this food. Somebody has to stand in the middle of the Mediterranean or the South China Sea for 12 hours straight, producing thousands of meals while the ship pitches and rolls beneath their feet. During heavy seas, galley equipment must be secured to prevent injuries. Specialized restraining systems hold pots and pans in place, while non-slip mats and handholds help culinary specialists maintain their footing on wet, moving surfaces. Petty Officer Brandy Royal, a culinary specialist aboard the USS Harry S. Truman, put it plainly: on deployment, there's nowhere else to go, so it's mass production we've got to adjust to. Everything is made in bulk. No shortcuts, because if the food stops, this machine stops. The hardest task, according to senior culinary chiefs, is getting junior staffers to the required skill level while dealing with a more intense pace and workload during deployment. The culinary experience of incoming cooks can vary wildly, everything from chefs to people who never boiled water before. And yet, they feed a city every single day. And that is what it looks like to eat at the absolute bottom of the most powerful warship on Earth. No choice, no comfort, no guarantees, just a tray, a line, and whatever the ocean decides to let through.